So I'm Nicole Hancock, and I'm a partner in our Boise office. There's a few things that are influencing what we're seeing now. One, there's just a general overall uptick in the amount of litigation that's being filed. So we see a lot more cases that are currently being filed. Coming out of the pandemic, what we've seen in Idaho in particular is that there's an increase in the amount of jury awards. So what used to be, $1 million or less jury award, there seems to be a desensitization to the financial implications, and then awards are much higher than what we've ever seen in our historical awards by comparison. So for our client base, what that means is that there's a greater increase in the number of litigations that are being filed, litigation matters that are being filed, and then the potential awards or the risk or exposure would be higher as well. So those two things combined and coupled with what we've seen is maybe some of our clients who are being a little bit more cautious about what's happening in the economy right now. It's difficult for them to know what the impact of the tariffs are going to be, or if we're going to have a recession or some other downturns. And so there's some protectionism that's happening, that coupled with some additional exposures. And I think that you're seeing people's willingness to litigate more, but also try and settle more because they want to control for that risk. The other side of that coin is that because there is a greater number of filings, our federal court system is saturated with cases, at least in the jurisdictions where I practice. And we're seeing that it's taking a lot longer to get through the system, which means it tends to be more expensive to litigate as well. Because in the meantime, the attorneys are spending more time on discovery, or they're spending more time fighting about the case, trying to get the case to progress through, because you don't use your downtime to just do nothing, right? So it tends to be more expensive as a whole for clients who are going through the system. But with the judges that we have in state court, we're seeing that there's a more willingness to control the case as well, more likelihood to rule on dispositive motions in a way that will get rid of issues, trim the case down, or even narrow discovery disputes or narrow the scope of discovery in a way that manages the case more proactively, I think, because of how contentious things have been. I think that there's an incentive to get into federal court. One, if you're a defendant, you get it requires a unanimous jury verdict, and so it's a little bit higher of a standard than the majority of the jury that you would have required for state court. And so, as a defendant, you have some incentive to try and get into federal court. If you're the party that doesn't care how long the litigation takes, federal court tends to be a little bit slower because of the backlog right now. And so you're somewhat incentivized to get into the federal court system because you can slow things down a little bit. Our state court bench tends to use an expedited docket if the parties can agree, and if the case is of a size or a low enough complexity level that it merits moving forward faster. So you can get through the system a lot faster. But if that's not your goal strategically, sometimes that's an incentive to move into federal court. Of course, you have to have jurisdiction to get there, but usually with diversity of jurisdiction, that gives you one option. If not, having some kind of federal question will get you there.